America's Heroes Group Roundtable with partner Chicago Regional Veteran Benefits Administration. And we are so pleased to have in our studio some of my favorite veterans, without a doubt. U.S. Turner, U.S. Army veteran, Airborne. Yay, Pathfinder, Ranger, and SCS Executive Director, Chicago VBA Regional Office. How you doing?
Great, Cliff. I have to apologize. I have laryngitis, so my voice is a little raspy today.
Are you supposed to be here with us?
Of course I am.
All right. Rich Lopresti, U.S. Army veteran of Military Intelligence Command and Director, Chicago Regional Office, VBA Management Analyst. Rich, how are you?
I'm very good, Cliff. It's nice to be here today.
It's great to have you. The discussion is an overview of the claims process to include our public contact office. Both of you gentlemen are so ready for this. Who wants to start off?
Cliff, I can just say that
Sure.
the entry point for a lot of veterans to access to benefits is through determination of their eligibility and their disability ratings, which determines in large part what benefits they may be entitled to. So that starts with the submission of their disability request for recognition for ratings, and it's an involved process, and Rich is intimately familiar. He's worked that for us, and so he's the resident expert.
Sounds great. Rich?
The resident expert in this room, right? Yeah, Cliff, there's a few ways for the veterans to get their claim submitted, but they all are on Form 526. You can come into our public contact office, and they will help you fill out that form and get your claim started. You can go to the 800 number, 1-800-827-1000, and the call center there will help you. You could go online. And online, you go to ebenefits.va.gov, and it will guide you through the process. You go to the website, it will say, what do you want to do? Disability claim is what you would click on first, and then it will guide the veteran straight through. Another way is they can go to a VSO, and the VSO will help them fill out the contract as well, fill out the application as well. The keys to filling out that application are to make sure that you have your name, your social security number, and that you sign it. There's other information it will ask you for, your periods of service. It'll ask you for your current address and a phone number. And then it will ask you what your disabilities are. And for the veterans, when they're putting in a claim, they want to make sure that there's an event in service where they were injured, and then we're looking for some kind of current treatment that they may have, and we bridge the gap there. On our end, once that application is submitted, then we have a duty to assist, and we will get the information that is missing from a claim. So if a veteran submits his claim and he says he was in during a certain period of time, it's beneficial if he has a DD-214 to send that in with the claim. If he doesn't, as long as he indicates the period of service and when he was, we can get that for him. And the situation is this: if it's your very first claim and you're coming in, whatever information you have that you can give us will help us to get started and will speed that process up. If we have to, because what concerns us is we have veterans, obviously they want to get their claim through the system as quickly as possible.
Sure.
So the less that we have to go out and grab for them saves time. So if they have their personnel records, if they have their service treatment records, that saves time and we can get them scheduled for an exam quicker. If they come in though and they don't have that doesn't prevent them from filing a claim. We still can reach out and get their service treatment records, get their personnel file, and then schedule for exams at that point. I would say to the veterans that are out there that want to that are putting in a claim, if we reach out to them for some information, respond to us as quickly as you can if you have that information. And if you don't, give us a call on the 800 number and tell us, hey, I know you're looking for this. I don't have it. Please get it. And then
Gotcha.
and then it doesn't delay the claim. That's what happens is that guys get frustrated. The men and women, the veterans, they get frustrated because they think that they should have an answer sooner than they do. Well, if you put your packet in with as much information as you have, it will help us get through there faster. And in a particular instance, if you're filing any claim for PTSD, there's a separate form. The website will drive you to fill it out, but it's a 0781, and it's where you list your stressor. So if you were in combat, you would say combat. If it was if you were attacked in some way physically, so these are the things that we're really looking for to kind of speed that claim along. Because what we want to do is we want to have all the blocks checked so we can schedule your exam. You go to your exam, and then we're prepared to make a decision, and then you'll get your benefits. And we've streamlined that process, and there are multiple ways for a veteran to submit that claim. And one of those ways, which we wanted to discuss, is there's a public contact at our regional office, which is at 2122 West Taylor Street. They can come in, they'll get an appointment, they'll meet with a counselor, and the counselor will guide them through that process. And at that moment, their claim is submitted because they're already in our regional office. So it's just one of the ways where if a veteran is not sure or they don't have access to a computer, they can come in and meet directly with a counselor.
So actually, it's seemingly here, Hughes, that it matters not what the veteran's problem is. They can get the help.
Yes. You know, the important thing, too, this is probably a good interjection point. You've heard me talk about this several times. To the extent that you have your personnel records and your medical records when you left service, that is so helpful because at the end of the day, it's all about documentation. And that's extraordinarily important. And sometimes veterans have them, but a lot of times they don't. And sometimes, even though we do a search, records sometimes get lost through no fault of any individual. You know, the records get shipped and somehow they get lost. And so now you have that absence of records and documentation that you would like to have to buttress your case. That's why I always tell folks, especially those who are currently serving, before you leave, make sure you have positive control of your personnel records and your medical records, because it always helps, because if that happens, I got them right here.
Right.
The other thing, too, is sometimes it may seem to be a little overwhelming as one prepares to submit. The veteran service organizations are very good at providing assistance to the service member in helping prepare their claims. And the veteran service organizations, or VSOs, like American Legion, the Disabled American Veterans, VFW, have trained individuals to help the veteran submit their claims. And I highly recommend that individuals look at those individuals, those organizations, to help them.
You know, it's amazing because America's Heroes Group, obviously, the reason we're here, and you folks have just been great in getting all the information we need to help all of the folks who have problems, which is why we have the show, and it's been extremely successful. But it just seems as though folks, we don't. This is a good thing I'm talking about. We don't have the same amount of complaints that we used to have with the VA, which is a good thing, obviously, particularly here in our region. But is this the same thing, Rich, in other places?
Yeah, across VBA, the time for the claims processing has shortened. So we're able to serve veterans faster. We've improved our processes greatly over the past few years. We identified weaknesses in what was going on, and we streamlined the process, figured out where the claims were being held up, what was holding them up, figured out just a better way on our end to do business to better serve the veterans of the community.
I'm sure that's the case because I know Hughes has been. There used to be some terrible complaints.
Well, the irony in all this, if you go back 5 years, where we had a what we called a backlog, the inventory
right.
of claims to be processed, was over 700,000. That number's been halved.
That's great.
In the last several years. What we do find, and this may be a generational issue, that some of the older veterans, and we can go back as far as World War II, were hesitant to file claims. And I'll give my father as an example, who passed away a couple of years. But he never filed for a disability claim, although I knew that he had been injured or had some residual issues as a result of his military service. They just didn't do it. And we find that also true probably with a lot of Korean War vets.
Your son couldn't convince him to do it?
He was an old sergeant major.
Okay.
And
That's
even,
not happening.
There's no convincing him.
Yeah, despite my rank as a colonel even. And so I know what I'm doing. They just felt that was part of their service. What we find, I think, with the more recent generations is that they're more aware of the benefits, and they're more aware of their injuries, and we remind them, hey, this is what you need to do, and they do it.
Yeah, they may be even
increased education.
Know it, the education,
and that's to use his point. That's why we have different avenues where they can file their claims. So the younger generations, the computers, they're great with them, right? They grew up with them. But some of the older guys, that's new. But that's why there's the POAs, the VSOs that could help them. And they could come into our public contact, or they could call someone on a telephone.
How many people, Rich, do you think, in percentages, obviously I'm talking about, are not really getting what they could easily get if they knew how to do it?
Oh, wow.
Well, that's... I'm not in position to answer that. I mean,
I know. I just
this is one of those.
This
things,
is a guess. Obviously.
It's almost like how do you prove a negative?
Right.
Because when people don't disclose, I mean, I think if we were to follow the breadcrumbs, let's say go back to World War II and look at the number of veterans that are still alive from that generation, we could probably identify a certain percentage. But when I look at that generation of veterans, we know those numbers are small.
Yeah.
Extremely small.
Yeah.
Looking at the recent Afghanistan, Iraqi, Syria war veterans, the higher percentage. And I think a lot of that is just because of the messaging that is now getting out. As individuals transition out of uniform, they go through their transition assistance point, and we have individuals that communicate with them to inform them of what benefits they may be eligible for. So they get that information up front before they leave. So I think we're much more proactive in that regard, as opposed to perhaps when you were leaving the service coming out of the Vietnam era.
No, I think you're right about that. We want to take a caller for our great guest, Emmanuel. Hi, how are you, sir?
Hey, good afternoon, Cliff, to you and your remarkable guests that are speaking today.
Thanks for calling.
And I want to say that I find it a privilege to be able to speak with you guys today, because what you're saying is some very informative stuff. Me being a Marine who was honorably discharged back in 1982, up until about a year or so ago, I had never heard of anything in regards to the Camp Lejeune water issue and everything. But my point is that the gentleman spoke about, people not being, advised, nor do, many veterans out here know of their benefits and everything. And I look forward to, trying to reach out to whether I'm a little nervous, so just bear with me.
No, you're fine. Go right ahead.
I'm looking forward to reaching out to, your guest or, whatever I can through this particular radio show that you host, Cliff, and I need you to say that, man, I appreciate what you do and what you bring to the table in regards to helping us veterans out here who just don't know. You know, we go about our lives as if nothing, you know, is wrong with us and everything. You know, we're taught to be, independent and everything.
Sure,
you know,
exactly.
and it's just that I'm at a point in my life whereby, you know, I know that I'm entitled to a level of service, and you know, I know that I have some type of, you know, service-connected disabilities, but it's just been, you know, hey, man, do I want to go through the, trouble of reaching out and doing some things about it? And I do believe that, you know, the Camp Lejeune thing being one of many issues that I've suffered from, but I just don't know how to go about obtaining my necessary service jacket to, in fact, you know, say, and my DD-214 doesn't indicate, you know, the time period that I was at, Camp Lejeune, which was a total of a year for my MOS training. And, you know, I just, you know, want to know how do I, you know, get in touch with somebody to get the ball rolling. I currently decided to, you know, give the Heinz VA system an opportunity versus the private healthcare industry. You know, I have insurance, but I want everything that I got coming as a veteran who served honorably this country back in the time period that I served. But it's just a matter of me being one of many veterans who really don't know how to get it going, man, how to get it started. And you guys sound like y'all looking out for the veterans who don't know, but it's just a matter of, you know, being able to reach out. I think this is my moment to reach out, but now I'm looking to see how can y'all help me. Just help me get across the threshold, bro. And I could probably, you know, do some other stuff on my own, but it's just a matter of getting there. I think I've made it to the door, and I've just knocked. Now it's like, who's going to answer?
Emmanuel, Rich is waving his head and affirmatively. Yeah, Rich, go ahead.
In a situation like yours, you only have the DD-214, but when you submit that claim, then we're going to go get your records and your personnel records, because they will show your MOS training. Will show that you were at Camp Lejeune for a year, and that's all that we need. So if you either go to the website, call the 1-800-827-1000, or come into our office at 2122 West Taylor Street, then we can get the ball rolling right there, and very quickly put in a request to get your records, and at that point, then it's all on us. You'll hear back from us, and in a situation where we'll probably schedule you for an appointment, or if we need to follow up with you to ask a follow-up questions or something like that, you'll hear from us either by phone or by mail. But your situation, in order for us to get the records, and the records will show that you are at Camp Lejeune, you just have to file the claim. That's part of our duty to assist. So we're doing that for veterans every day.
Oh man, that sounds great.
And another avenue again, if I can go back to the veteran service organizations, if you reach out to the American Legion or VFW, they have trained individuals to help you with that process as well.
Okay.
And they're very good at that.
That's great.
And what were those other two organizations again, sir? I'm sorry.
American Legion, Veterans of Foreign Wars.
And the VFWs.
VFW.
And they also have office space at our location as well.
Yeah.
They're located in other areas of the state.
Absolutely.
They're statewide, but again, if you came into our office, they're in the same hallway as our public contact.
Great.
And your office is on Taylor Street at the Jesse Brown location?
Roger. We're co-located on that campus. We're at 2122 West Taylor.
Okay. Well, and again, I appreciate everything you guys do. And, all I can say is just keep doing what you do, man, because there's a lot of us veterans out here who just basically don't know, man. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think it's a crime about not knowing, but it is something wrong with at some point not reaching out and asking for some type of a solution. Right?
Well, I totally agree, Emmanuel. And it's people like you that is the reason that we started this show, America's Heroes Group.
Yep.
Because
and I've been listening.
Okay, great. And let folks know, because that's what we want to do, is to help people. And we've gotten such great great service from the various people that we have to come in here to give us, as our two folks today, Hughes and Rich.
Yep, and thank y'all very much, and I'll let you get to your other callers.
Thank you.
I appreciate your information.
Emmanuel, thank you for calling. You're the reason we do this, okay?
Thank you, sir. Y'all have a great evening.
That's beautiful. And that's why we you can tell what this gentleman really needs some help.
Yeah.
And
That's right.
it's easy to get,
Yeah.
but he doesn't know that.
Yeah.
He will now.
And Camp Lejeune is such a special case.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so,
Mention that.
Yeah. You know, and actually it's in statute that says that Marines and actually some of their family members, as I recall, who may have been at Camp Lejeune during a specific time frame, and that escapes me right now, may be eligible for some of the disability claims as a result of their exposure to some of the toxins in the water system there. So it's very specific, very particular, and it required Congress to be involved. And the amazing thing is that sometimes we don't know what we don't know. And it's
True.
through a lot of veteran service organizations and veterans that raise an issue that requires a deeper dive by members of Congress or other individuals to bring that to light. And in this case, it happened, and it was added to some of the other disabilities that we look at, so that can now be entertained where it wasn't entertained before.
Yeah.
You know,
I got you.
That's important. So the veteran's voice is extremely important in all this.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm sure Emmanuel will be pleased.
That's great.
Yeah, the response that he will get. That's a good thing. That some of us remember that. A lot of folks don't even remember what it was. But this is something that really should happen. What else do we need to know, Hugh? The claims process. That's what we're
I
talking
think
about.
it's important that.
Okay, we're going to go.
Yeah, I'm
go to
sorry.
Rich.
I think it's important too that the veterans know that once they put that claim in, through the same avenues that we have already discussed, they can check the status of their claim as
Great.
well. So if they need to update something, they can see that as well.
That would be great. Let's take another caller. Robert, hi.
Hey,
wanted to
Cliff, how
talk-
you doing?
Fine, Robert. How are you today?
Okay,
Good.
that Marine just called.
Yes.
He can go out to Martha's Point on 7th and the Vincennes out there. 7th, 6th and Vincennes, and all the sheriff and all the people out there help him.
That's great.
And also, he can collect the man, say he can call any 800, 820, 1000. He might get anywhere across the country, and they'll send his DD-214.
Very good. Okay.
Okay?
All right. Appreciate it, Robert. Thank you so much.
Good.
Yeah.
System works sometimes.
Yeah, that's right. That's great that the system does work sometimes. Rich, I think you were saying something when Robert called in. Were you?
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that the veterans knew that they can check the status of their claims, because what we get as feedback is, and I'm sure you hear it as well, a veteran has a time frame in his head where he thinks his claim should be resolved, and everyone wants their claim resolved quickly. If you think it's gone beyond 30 days, or you haven't heard anything from us, you haven't been to any exams, you can check the status of your claim by calling that 800 number, or by going online. So this way you know where it is in the process. But the process goes something like this. You put in your application, we get your records, we schedule you for an exam, so you'll hear from us about the scheduling of the exam, and then you'll go to that exam. When the exam is completed, it's put with your file, and then it goes to the rating board, and they rate. So in a perfect world where we have everything, that can happen relatively quickly. You usually can get scheduled for an exam within 30 to 45 days.
Great.
And then the rating, as long as everything is completed in the folder, it doesn't take a long period of time after that. But if you've gone to your exam and then you think too much time has passed, you can just, you can call us and we can tell you what the status is, or you can check on the website and it'll tell you what
Which
your
is
status
what you have been doing, which is great.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I want to thank you both for coming in, giving us some great information. U.S. Turner, good to see you again. And Rich Lopresti, good to see you also. You folks give us such great information. There's so many people that really wouldn't know which way to go. And, even I find out things that I don't know exist.
You
So,
know, believe it or not, sometimes that's true for us in a show like this. Sometimes we don't know how veterans, how they're actually
Yeah.
being served.
Right.
And so this feedback helps us too.
want to thank you both.
Right?
Thank you.
Gentlemen.
Thank you.